So for this week's market news, we're just going to have a look through really the events of last week, what to look out for the week ahead, and just have a look at a couple of the charts really as well. So last week was very much sort of dominated really by talks of a US rate rise coming in a little bit more earlier than expected. So this week's FOMC statement is going to be pivotal actually, with real talk about the words that are going to be used by Yellen during the statement there. The word patient or patience with rate hikes won't go down particularly well for the dollar. Last week, dollar rallying quite sharply against other currencies. So if they do continue to use the word patient for rate hikes for the guidance there, then we'd expect the dollar to start to come back quite aggressively this week. So that's coming in at Wednesday at 6 p.m. We'll have a look through the calendar later on. It certainly led to some quite dramatic moves in currencies. We can see huge falls really last week on the euro dollar, starting out the week around the sort of 108.50 level, ending up the week down at around just sub 105. So euro dollar down about 3.2% last week, which is a pretty significant move really as far as currencies go. Sterling dollar also taking quite a hit as well, not so much down to the pound falling, but again more about the US dollar rising quite significantly there. On the equity markets though, some quite interesting moves as well. Obviously the asset repurchasing started last week really over in the Eurozone, so we saw some quite dramatic rises in Eurozone stock markets, certainly the DAX, a very big move last week. We saw a small pullback initially as we started talking about the rate reductions in the US, but here we saw a huge move on Wednesday, Thursday, and then Friday, just continuing higher after being down for much of the day on Friday, rallying dramatically. In fact, the DAX closing the week out up 430 points at around about 3.7%. We'll have a look at the CAC here as well, rising fairly sharply as well, and also the Euro stocks continuing the upside again. Small pullback in Monday, Tuesday, followed by a heavy rally on the Wednesday there. If we compare that to the US stock market, the S&P in particular is right down at the bottom of its natural trading range. They couldn't be any more separate. The DAX and CAC and the Euro stocks breaking out to the top of the range, whereas the US indices down at the bottom of this major support level, just trying to find a little bit of support at the moment there. So that's the S&Ps, that's the Dow. Just not quite as low as the S&P, but again, bit of a kicking there again in the early part of last week, and also there the Nasdaq as well. After that lovely short at the beginning of March, we're now retreating down to the support level here at around 43.08.5 on the Nasdaq. Just trying to find some support there. So it's going to be interesting for the week ahead. And again, that FOMC statement on Wednesday is going to be pivotal to finding out some guidance on what is going to happen on those equity markets and also the dollar over the next week or three. We also saw quite a significant downturn in Brent crude as well. If I just quickly look at the UK oil chart, that fell dramatically last week and really the week before, but Monday, starting the week on Friday's close there, 59.79, and here we're now trading around 54, so it fell best part of 10% last week. That's a significant move there for crude oil. So looking for really the week ahead, it's really about those rates, to be honest with you. There's three central banks or three key central banks that have got rate decision statements coming out. And if I just refer first of all to the economic calendar, we're using Forex Factory here. The three items that we're looking for are basically tomorrow night, or so tonight really, we've got the monetary policy statement in the Bank of Japan in Japan there. Not really expecting much of a change there, to be honest with you, if anything at all. So I don't really expect it to have a huge impact on the yen pairs there, unless something happens that it's a bit unexpected there, really. The Swiss franc there, the SNB having their rate statement and conference on Thursday. Obviously, a lot's been happening with the Swiss franc this year Obviously, the unpegging to the Swiss franc from the euro in January led to some significant moves there. And of course, also that rate reduction to -0.75%, and also a cut of 0.25% in the previous month as well. So that's a massive, well, it's negative rates over in Switzerland now. However, we're not expecting much of a change or any change again on rates there for this month's decision on Thursday. We'll see, but certainly there's been some quite dramatic moves actually since then. We look at the likes of sterling Swiss, and we can see the extent of the recovery that we've had on that market. Some pairs pretty much reversing all of those that fall on the Swiss franc news in January there. So significant rally after that data there. But again, not expecting any rate reductions or hikes or anything there in Switzerland. But as I say, the major item this week is going to be very much this FOMC statement here. Now remember, if you're in the UK, we're out of sync with the US for about an hour, for exactly an hour, because of the daylight savings change. Our clocks don't change till the latter part of March, which means that the statement would normally be at 7 p.m. is going to be at 6 p.m. This week, so do keep an eye out for that. The statement is going to be very, very important indeed. It's really all about the word patience. And if they keep the word patience in, i.e. we're going to be patient with increasing rates, then really do expect the dollar to take a bit of a hit after on Wednesday there. However, we're really looking for guidance on when they might start to look to raise those rates there. And actually, you know, for a market that's been producing very few changes in direction over the last month or so, I think this could be a good spark for some good changes in direction for a lot of markets, and hopefully a very interesting week for traders after Wednesday there. But we shall see. Certainly, a lot of markets are due a change of trend, a change in direction. The likes of the euro dollar, you can see, has been going down aggressively for the best part of a month. The S&P's no new trades recently. The sterling dollar, a lot of these markets have just been heading in one direction for the last 3 weeks. We need a change of direction, and hopefully Wednesday is going to spark that nicely. That's really much of what we're looking for the week ahead. We've got Draghi speaking, we've got German ZEW coming in on Tuesday as well. So there's a little bit to keep us interested in otherwise, plus we've also got the MPC statement on Wednesday as well, so do keep an eye out for that for 9:30 on Wednesday. But as I say, just to reiterate, the key thing really is the Fed this week, Wednesday, 6 p.m. UK time, so keep your pencil sharpened for that. Have a great week's trading, everybody, and all the best.
If you would like more information about trading the right way, Trend Signal is giving you the opportunity to see and hear about its services live at a free online seminar. Take a look at the Trend Signal website for the latest events and to book your free place.